What up, guys, and welcome to the coffee shop. This is your host, Baristo, and I'm here to let you know why I haven't been doing many YouTube videos too lately, right? So I just want to let you know that I have created a lot of indicators, okay? Just a lot of them. Where's my other one? There should be one here, including this one, which is a finished indicator you guys don't have access to just yet. It does an astronomical job of letting you know when the RSI's movements and slope are accurate, and you can actually enter your trades for longs or shorts. I mean, you can just look at it and see what it's doing here, right? Just really awesome. You don't need to be above or below zero with the histogram. It just needs to show you the color of what's going on. For example, as it's rising, if the RSI is rising, then yes, it's going to change to green when the RSI is doing certain things, and that means you can enter a long trade, right? So that means you could have entered a long trade here, and you wouldn't have to get out until this point. So what would that be? You would have gotten in right here, and you would have gotten out at this point right here. Like, that's still a decent move, right? Nice little scalp. It'll tell you when the market's moving against you. But to be honest with you, I wouldn't have gotten out because in this case, the RSI did not cross the zero. So stay in the trade, right? Stay in the trade, stay in the trade. And then it turns red right here while you are just above again. So, you would get out at that point. And at that point, you also start seeing something, something on my chart. You see these little blue lines that start showing up over here? Take a look at that. These little blue lines start showing up. You know what that is? That is the new version of the MassEfx moving average. Now, it's not just blue lines. It is what I have been spending several hours a day for this past number of weeks, really staying off of YouTube, because I've seen a lot of smart money concept indicators, and I think it's time that I start building one that is not an oscillator on the bottom of the screen, and it gives you confluence of what you need in your price action, because still a lot of you are seeing things like RSI crossovers, and you're trying to get in for a short position here, but you can't. Price moves against you. You get in for a long position here, and you can't because price doesn't move far enough. Like, it really gets away from you, right? You need something better, and I think I have the solution. Now, yes, there are a lot of smart money concept indicators out there, and I would love to put another one on the screen, but I don't want to give play to anyone else's, and I certainly don't want to dog anyone for the things that they're missing. There is a few things missing from smart money concept indicators that I will be adding to this one. And one of the key things is true liquidity in the market. And that looks like bearish liquidity and bullish liquidity. Okay? Now, that means orders were created and left in that place, and they will be triggered when price crosses that level. That's simply it. So, like this, for example, bearish liquidity orders were left in the market, but it gets crossed only one way, going bullish, so price keeps going up. So it moves bullish, and it took out the bearish order people. It just took them right out, right? Then you've got bullish orders right here. While your candles are below, bullish orders start forming, and price sweeps it, takes it up to your previous pivot level. And that's it, right? So the other way you can use this is very interesting. You have a pivot level. Your price action is forming. You end up getting a higher low, right? Somehow you get a higher low. Maybe this one is low on the RSI and this one's high on the RSI. So like you just take this up. Something tells you to take this trade long, right? And what do? You target your pivot. Okay, great. You targeted your pivot. But what if you had something that shows up and it says, hey, you got a little more juice in the system. Target the next pivot that's up there. Target that one too. And you can actually get in, get out, and you're good to go. See? Way up there. Now, this is going to be very interesting. So let's talk about real quick what this has in it. It has short-term high pivots, short-term low pivots. Okay? Now let me turn off the short-term so you can see the other ones. Short-term off. Now, what's left? You've got long-term high pivots and long-term low pivots. Where are you? Where are you? I know you're here. There we go. Long-term low pivot. Now, my issue with pivot indicators, which is 90% of the smart money concept indicators that are out there, my issue with them is that they are nothing more than a base of pivot indicators. And that's not enough for you guys. Trading to pivots is not the way to go. You need to know that there is liquidity in the direction of the trade that you are taking or not. Well, why is that? Because when banks trade, this is the theory behind smart money concepts. You are trying to trade like the banks do. Well, the banks know where you left your money because they created movements in the market for you to leave your money in certain places, and then they move the price against you. So when price starts coming back to those areas, they use liquidity as targets for their trades because they cannot continue to move the market unless there is liquidity, right? So what happened? You were going long, and while that took place, look at it. I'm going to let you see that. While this move was going long, bearish orders were left here. So while price plays out, reaches the pivot, bullish orders are here, but they do not get swept. So what does that mean? You have a divergence most likely right here on your RSI. So you immediately get in for your trade. Let's see. Let's say that this is the divergence, right? So you would get in at the short right here because you broke below that divergence area, and this would be your target instead of this being your target. Like where's your pivot? Let's put that back on, right? Short-term pivot. Okay. You see how there's no pivot? Well, your pivot is down here. This is the mistake that people do. Okay. They target a pivot and price doesn't get there. You need to target liquidity, and you need to be able to know where is that liquidity in the market. So let it play out. Price goes up, comes down, touches liquidity, but it does not touch the pivot. So that ends your trade. You should not be in the market at that point. Just leave it all behind. So this is going to be the difference with this particular indicator. It is going to give you targets using liquidity, and you'll be able to do it just like the banks do. And there'll be zones that are marked out for certain areas of liquidity that have been mitigated. And as you can see, this pivot gets disappeared, as well as this one is still here, right? Why is this one still here? Because even though market came down, tapped into the liquidity, it did not sweep all of that area. It needs to close in both directions. See, it already took out from bullish, and now it took out from bearish. So now there's no more liquidity at this level. So that's what's coming next with the MassEfx moving average, and that should be on your charts and available for you in the next few days. In the meantime, had you been using this, you would have been able to see that all through this, there was bullish orders left in this area. And when price came up to sweep it, it continued moving up. At this point, right here, a new set of bullish orders were made. Right here, they were swept, and price continued to be swept even further. So we'll see how this plays out for everybody. Give me a couple of days. This one will be done.